Good morning, afternoon, evening. Each Backyard, my YouTube channel where I talk about all kinds of edible things I'm into, as well as non-edible things like tropical plants and beautiful foliage. So today, I'll do a quick live stream on a beautiful specimen of prickly pear, and this one really is in full fruition. Let me try to get out of the wind here. That is a healthy specimen. Now this one is growing approximately, I'd say about 30 feet from the dune line, west of the dune line. And you can see it's doing just fine. Now this one's in a manicured setting. You can see it's got a Hawaiian sea grape growing through. But you can also see it is loaded with fruit. So I thought I'd do a few things in this video stream. By the way, if you're not subscribed to Each Backyard, please do. If you're new, welcome. We look at cool plants like this, and hopefully you can join on some of the streams and participate in the comments during the stream, because that's so fun. A couple of advertisements, get out of the way real quick. I've got home advisor links now if you need stuff done around the yard. I've got all kinds of plant links in the description, also links to the other YouTube channels that I have up and running. Okay, take a look. These are the unripe prickly pears. They are gigantic too. They don't always get this big. And then there's the ripe. And you can see they are dropping as well. And it's proper to walk through the prickly pear areas in bare feet. Just wanted to make sure you had that safety tip. All right, here's the thing about cactuses. And I'm not trying to be silly. I mean, you know, we know they have thorns, but they don't all have the same types of, I guess you wouldn't call them thorns. I don't know what yeah, I guess you call them thorns. Anyway, whatever you call them, let's call them thorns. They have different configurations of thorns, and you know, this particular cactus type of prickly pear, of which there are many, has the configuration of 3 thorns, looks like per node of thornage, which is pretty intense. And these are also, I'm going to try to do this without getting poked, these are also very rigid, very effective thorns. You know, some of the thorns are more hair-like even on some of these cactuses, but these will nail you. Okay, so I don't know if this is such a good pick for your yard. It could be. I don't like to have things that can do this to me in my general area, because eventually I'm gonna, or one of my kids or something's gonna hit it. Now, let's talk about the edibility. Is it a word? We don't know. It is now in this video. Would you eat these? Can you eat these? Well, you know, as it turns out, these are very good specimens. Some of the fruit on some of the varieties of prickly pear have a lot more like hair-like little spine spots all over. And I once thought that there were no hair-like spine things on a thing I had removed, and I got them in my lip. That wasn't fun. But I'll tell you that this fruit, and we're kind of lucky here because it looks like fruit has fallen and it is being eaten actively by the creatures around here. This fruit is very, very thick in seeds. There's one that's fallen. Did you ever think you'd be looking at rotten prickly pears on the internet? Well, you are. And look at all the seeds. Red flesh. Thank you for whatever creature broke this open for us to behold its innards. But bright red flesh filled with those little seeds. And those seeds will, if you plant them, will germinate readily. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you think I should plant some in the old What You Got Growing On series that I'm currently doing. Now I have to beware. This thing is right in front of my face. Okay, so the point is, you can eat these. You just have to be very careful you get out all the spines. I would pick them with gloves, to be honest. You know, I have those leather gloves that I use in a lot of the videos. Just leather gloves that come up to your elbows. Why not? It beats being spiked. Now here's a bonus for those of you who have stuck around this long. Hurricane Eta swell, which is what I'm getting ready to go out and do next. I'm actually going to live stream on Surf All Day A1A. If you're interested, you can jump over. If not, I certainly understand. Gardener Earth Guy, welcome aboard. 3 feet tall. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm amazed by them as well. Gardener Earth Guy, sorry. In terms of valuable plants, right? Plants that are valuable in terms of being able to provide us food. Let's just say on that level, valuable. I would rank prickly pear amongst the most valuable for a few reasons. It is essentially a zero maintenance, completely adapted plant for growing in this environment, right in the dry, arid, hot, sweltering conditions of the dunes, and produce this volume of fruit. And we can turn our nose up at the fruit now. Certainly, I am turning my nose up at that fruit. This actually has more flesh on this variety than what I was used to. Most of the time it was mostly seeds. It looks like it does have a area of flesh. I'll have to pick one or two and show what they look like inside eventually, but I don't have the... Oh yeah, Gardener. They attract rats. Do you think that's what happened to this one? This is a rat party down here? Probably likely. It's interesting that there's a lot of others that haven't been eaten. Interesting. Rat party going on. Well, you know what they say about rats. Excellent snake food. Which is, I suppose, the other element of the prickly pear is maybe the prickly pears bring the rats bring the snakes bring the bald eagles. I don't know. Here's a little one. These are interesting. Looks like they're just branches that had kind of laid down and then have sprouted new growth. If you had a cutting of a prickly pear like that from any of these, you just cut it at the bottom, I would say 100% chance of growing. What do you think, Gardener? Night fishing goggles and pellet rifles, yeah, for sure. Oh, you mean to play a pellet rifle game in a prickly pear patch? Like the prickly pear are the barriers. These are such gnarly plants. I would not put one in my yard. You can see here it's got a plumeria growing too. Looks like these plumerias already dropped all of their leaves, and it's only November, or mid-November. There's some more prickly pears along this sea grape hedge. Even the younger prickly pear, well, these are not, I don't know if they're necessarily younger, they're just way trimmed back, have fat pears on them. Look at those thorns. Nightmare. Pendo? Oh, there's one way back in the dunes. They grow just right up to the dunes. Beasts. Yeah, that's a century plant there, a big agave. It's weird, it looks like it's been chopped and then regrew. These are sables. There's a coconut tree back here too. The old coconut. Yeah. So in terms of edibility, and I know that these Hawaiian, I'm going to say alpaca plants, I believe. I made a video about them earlier, a month or so ago. Beach and alpaca, yeah, they have several medicinal qualities with the berries. Like I saw actually on a survival show where they took the white berries that grow on these things, and one of the guys had severe sunburn. He was like, had never been exposed to the sun, and then they put him on a tropical island basically with no clothes, and he just immediately got to like hospitalization level sunburn. And the woman that was there with him, his partner, was from Hawaii, and she picked berries from this this was growing on that island, and it grows so easily from cuttings. Like, you can snap any one of these twigs off. I wouldn't on these, 'cause these aren't mine, but stick them in the sand and it's growing. I mean, it's on. And then they produce these white berries. When they get to this size, you got thousands of them. But she rubbed it all over his sunburn. Yeah, I'm not making any claims about whether it works, but that's probably a nice distraction from hospitalization level sunburns, if nothing else, which is to smash up berries and rub them on your skin. But yeah, the prickly pear. Now I'll go into one other topic on this prickly pear before I get ready to go surfing, and that is, there are other types of pad cactus which are edible, both the pads and the pears themselves. Now, I don't know if the pad itself is edible. That would be an interesting thing to find out. Oh, you're up near Pensacola. Yeah, excellent. Love Pensacola. Love that area of Florida. So beautiful. So different than here. Yeah, this is eastern central Florida. Very different. And you know, we're both, where you are and where I am, experiencing Ada pulling off the coast. Oh boy. But prickly pear cactus, there are lots of varieties. Another variety that I grow in my yard is the Opelia prickly pear edible pad cactus. That one is thornless. It's a thornless pad cactus, similar to this, but no thorns, and also the fruits are nowhere near as good as this. But so I just generally let them all fall off. They have a beautiful flower on the pear that forms, actually, and the pad is edible and tastes something like, I always say, something like a cucumber or pepper. So, you know, pretty darn good. And it grows at the same, although those two qualities are somewhat different, it grows at about the same rate as this guy and has about the same fertilization care needs as this one, which is, you know, sub-zero. Really, it's only, the only place we get to care for it is to trim it back, hack it back, so it doesn't just create a never-ending landscape of thorniness. Yeah. And while we're here, we might as well check out some of the other things. You know, I pointed out that century plant back there. Here's another one. Giant agave. You know, I don't know if they make tequila out of this type, but look, there's the Bucks suffered a horrible loss last week. Anyway, I won't get distracted by that. I'm still recovering from that. But this is a beautiful agave, but I would, I would never again plant this in my yard, just because of this simple truth, which is that thing is going to hurt you eventually if you're me. There it is, the moment of truth, my friends. Now, I heard once that these are actually tipped with a type of almost anesthetic, coating, meaning that the plant has some residue on there that numbs you when you are stuck with this. And I have been stuck with these, and yeah, what did feel kind of numb afterwards. I'm saying that's because of this anesthesia thing, but I'm saying that, you know, that's a moment to remember, and they're just perfectly positioned like some kind of medieval torture to get you at every possible angle of approach or mistaken passerby. My least favorite things that people do with these, and I don't want to be a complainer, but I'm going to give myself the liberty to complain about this, is that when people plant these right next to sidewalks. To me, that is such a, that's not a friendly move. Somebody's going to go by. Maybe it's me, or maybe it's whatever, some little kid, more likely, running to catch the football. Anyway, but yeah, so these are great, but they're so primed to hurt you. So I don't have any plants like this left in my yard, really, and I'm quite happy. I don't even really want to grow them in pots, just because even in a pot, they're going to eventually make me pay the price. Yeah, and then the worst thing is, as we understand the hazard of this thing, kind of the beware part of the title of this stream, is that the little end of that tip of that spike sometimes breaks off deep in the skin. So you imagine that thing can go however deep it can go, and then if the tip broke off, yeah. I will share a quick story of a mango injury. Hashtag mango injuries. You may find a lot of videos about mango injuries on the internet, but this one is the best one. Long story, very short. I'm going to go through it rapidly. Trimming a mango tree with a folding saw, end up getting into the mode where I start using the folding saw like it's a machete. It ends up folding over on my knuckles, and it pushed mango, as I was trimming a mango tree, it pushed mango tree stuff into my knuckle. Then about 6 months later, it was the size of a balloon, and I had to go have it surgically removed, and there it was. My body had formed a pocket in my finger around this mango tree in me. And the guy said, yeah, the doctor that I used to remove it said that, yeah, if I had waited another month or so, they would have been taking my finger off. So that's no compliment to my assessment skills for when to go to the hospital. That's certainly just a story of, you know, having gone through things like that so much, I'm just like over it, not wanting to suffer it. So that's kind of my prickly pear final analysis. Prickly pear, beware. But in looked at through a slightly different lens, what a wonderful and incredible plant this is that's so common, wild, and part of really across the world. This prickly pear cactus are all over the place where it's warm enough for them to grow. I've seen them on all kinds of tropical islands that I've been to, the collection, small collection I've been to. I've seen them, depicted in all kinds of different continents. Okay, well, thanks for joining me on this live stream. Appreciate it. This was really cool. I got to learn some things too. Shout out to Pensacola. Looks like Tropical Storm Ada. You've seen them grow. Hold on, I've got it. You've seen them grow in snow areas, Garden Earth guy? That's insane. I had no idea. Now I need to look up cactuses which grow in the snow, which grow in freezing temperatures. You know, like I guess, if it was just a dusting of snow, I wonder if they could grow where the ground would actually freeze. Like probably in the desert, they would. I'm just used to all this tropical action. I'm not even thinking of that. I'm gonna go check that out. I appreciate it. Texas, New Mexico. Right. Just broadened my perspective. Appreciate it greatly. Okay, well, thanks everybody. Have a great morning day. I may do a hangout in the backyard a little bit later because I'm going to plant some herb seeds that I got from Seeds Now. If you're around, maybe you'll hop on. Have a great day. Keep it real. Keep it fun. How many hurricanes till Christmas? I'm going with 7. Have a great day.